A lot of the time when we talk about Alzheimer's or dementia, a lot of the focus is on the person who's diagnosed, but that person's caregiver really does take on so much. My grandma's husband of 10 years was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2020. And in today's Your Healthy Family, she shares what it's like to care for someone with this diagnosis and when she knew she needed help.
The stress of 24/7 is a lot.
My grandma, Terry Wilgus Nicely, says caring for her husband, who has Alzheimer's, was a lot for one person.
Especially if the people are close to the same age. I told Stanley that you should have married a younger woman, she could have taken better care of you than I could.
She's joking, of course, but with her being 79 and her husband Stanley being 80, it was tough.
Especially when it comes to isolation, personality changes, the incontinence problem, which comes along with it.
She tells me when Stanley was first diagnosed in 2020, his forgetfulness was hard, but she could manage. But it became more and more difficult to care for Stanley on her own.
You lose yourself, you do. Your life becomes the life of a caregiver, which is a very worthy position, but it's very stressful.
There's over 1 billion hours of unpaid caregiving of family friends operating as a caregiver that's happening every year.
And that's just when it comes to Alzheimer's. Susan Nimnuin, the vice president of in-home care agency Bright Star Care in Fort Myers and Naples, says that's why it's important to understand the signs of caregiver burnout.
Are you still taking care of yourself? Are you putting your health aside? Are you not sleeping? What are the impacts on your life? Because if you're not able to fully take care of yourself, you're not able to fully care for anyone else.
She says a caregiver who's burnt out may get frustrated or stressed.
If you find yourself snapping at your loved one or getting frustrated or trying to rationalize with them, maybe it's a little much for you, and a little help or respite to just give a break would be wonderful for you and wonderful for your loved one.
My Mima realized she needed a little bit of respite when she noticed her entire life revolved around making sure Stanley's needs were met. That's when she started with an adult daycare in Port Charlotte once a week.
It's fairly expensive if your insurance doesn't pay for it, which most of them don't. But it was worthwhile, and I didn't realize until I did that how much I needed it. Just knowing that I didn't have to take care of anybody but me for a while.
And Nimnuin says people in my grandma's position need to check on themselves regularly.
To really have an honest conversation with yourself of, is this too much for me? Is an aspect of my life being impacted? And understanding that it's not selfish to say, I'm not having enough time with my children or my family or whatever.
For my grandma, that conversation came from my family and Stanley's family. We all encouraged her to consider a long-term plan.
It takes a lot of patience and a lot of love. It's a very worthwhile thing that you feel like you're doing, but you can only do it for so long.
And she says she knew Stanley deserved care that was more than she could give. So with the support of both families, she transitioned him into a home that specializes in dementia care.
Probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do, because it's someone that you love and you want the best for them. And I am comfortable in the decisions that were made that we did the best we possibly could for him.
Now, of course, it's so hard, but she does get to visit Stanley in his new home. If you have questions, though, about when to consider a caregiver for your loved one or want to learn more about my family's story, head to fox4now.com/yourhealthyfamily. For Your Healthy Family, I'm Lisa Greenberg.